Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yeshtanza. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Wednesday, the 29th of December. India's Omicron tally nears 800, capital New Delhi and Western Maharashtra state worst hit. Inflation to stay in double digits in December, says Pakistan's finance ministry. And Tibetans hold vigil in northern India, call on China to end repressive policies in Tibet. And now for all the details. The Omicron cases in India continue to rise, with the total tally crossing 780 as per the Health Ministry data on Wednesday. India reported a record high of 9,195 new confirmed coronavirus cases in 24 hours on Wednesday, one of the highest one-day tallies in the last 80 days. With Omicron concern around, COVID protocols in several states have been revised with the inclusion of night curfews, limiting the number of people in public social gatherings and curtailing New Year celebrations. The total count of the highly transmissible coronavirus variant Omicron in India has reached 781, according to Health Ministry data on Wednesday. The variant of concern has now spread to 21 states in the country. Indian capital New Delhi has the highest Omicron count with 238 cases, followed by Maharashtra state with 167 cases. India added 9,195 COVID cases on Wednesday, the highest New Delhi cases in 3 weeks, pushing the total confirmed tally to 34.8 million infections. As the scare of the new Omicron variant tightens grip, the Indian government has announced new measures to curb the infections. Long queues of people were seen outside various Delhi metro stations on Wednesday, a day after new restrictions were put in place by authorities, including running of its trains with only 50% seating capacity. Queues for buses too were very long as they operated at 50% capacity.
ये डिसीजन बहुत ही अच्छा डिसीजन है क्योंकि जब लोग ही अपनी जिम्मेदारी नहीं समझ रहे तो गवर्नमेंट को ही सख्ती करनी पड़ेगी। लोगों को अपनी जिम्मेदारी समझनी चाहिए थी तो ये आज गवर्नमेंट को नहीं करना पड़ता। तो ये बहुत ही अच्छा डिसीजन है। इसी के कारण शायद केसेस थोड़े कम हो जाएं।
The Indian capital on December 28 issued a yellow alert in wake of the rising COVID-19 cases and imposed a night curfew and shut down the cinema halls, spas and gyms with immediate effect.
जो कल 496 पॉजिटिव केसेस आए, पॉजिटिविटी लगभग 1% के आसपास चल रही है और लगातार पिछले कुछ दिनों से जब से ओमिक्रॉन स्टार्ट हुआ है विदेशों से फ़्लाइट्स आनी स्टार्ट हुई हैं, केसेस काफ़ी तेज़ी से बढ़ रहे हैं। अभी तक जितने भी केस आ रहे हैं ज़्यादातर ऐसे हैं कि जो बाहर से लोग आए हैं वो थोड़े दिनों बाद पॉजिटिव हो रहे हैं, तो उनके कॉन्टैक्ट के लोग या उनके घर के लोग ज़्यादा हो रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, Maharashtra Health Minister Rajesh Tope on Wednesday expressed concern regarding surge in active COVID-19 cases in the state. He called it an alarming situation and urged people and authorities to follow precautionary measures to ensure safety from COVID-19. Indian government has been continuously speeding up vaccination drive across the country. India has so far administered 1.43 billion COVID-19 vaccine doses and 62% of its eligible population has received both doses. The country plans to start vaccinating those aged 15 to 18 from January 3. A fresh round of snowfall in upper reaches of India's northern Uttarakhand state affected life in the Himalayan region on Wednesday as temperatures dropped significantly. Meanwhile, people in parts of northern and central India also reeled under severe cold wave conditions and resorted to wearing multiple layers of clothing to protect themselves from the cold.
People continue to reel under severe cold wave conditions in parts of India's northern Uttarakhand state as upper reaches of its Pithoragarh and Chamoli districts witnessed fresh snowfall on Wednesday. The famous Badrinath shrine and the nearby area was also seen covered in a blanket of snow as temperatures hit sub-zero levels. Temperatures in northern parts of the Indian subcontinent skirting the Himalayan foothills dipped drastically during the months of December and January, mostly due to seasonal western disturbances. Meanwhile, residents in capital New Delhi who came out for their daily activities early in the morning were seen huddling around bonfires and sipping hot tea to keep themselves warm and beat the bone-chilling cold. Locals said the cold has risen in the city after light rains over the past 2 days.
ये आज से नहीं, लगभग जब से बारिश हुई है उसी दिन से ठंड इतनी बढ़ी जा रही है जिससे कोई रह नहीं जाता। राहत लेने के लिए आग लगाए। अब क्या करूं सर जी, अगर राहत ना मिले तो फिर हम लोग कैसे जिएंगे।
Similar scenes were witnessed in central Bhopal city, where residents dressed in multiple layers of clothing as they stepped out. A dense fog covered the city in the morning, reducing visibility. South Asia's winters are not as cold as other regions such as North America, but the millions of poor here are hit harder because they live in the open and do not have enough warm clothes.
In news from Pakistan, Pakistan's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry, while taking a dig at former Premier Nawaz Sharif, has said that the government would bring back the self-exiled leader to the country as he would never return himself. Nawaz Sharif, who was granted bail in a corruption case in 2019 for health treatment in London, has not returned despite the lapse of his bail in February 2020.
Pakistan's Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said on Tuesday the government would bring back self-exiled former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to the country, as he would never return himself. Speaking at a press conference, Chaudhry said the Pakistan government is working to finalize agreements with the United Kingdom to bring Sharif back from London. The 71-year-old Nawaz Sharif, the supremo of opposition Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party, was serving his term in the Evenfield corruption case when he was granted an 8-week bail in 2019 to avail treatment in London due to his deteriorating health condition. He, however, has been living there since then despite the lapse of his bail.
नवाज शरीफ को तो वापस आना होगा। नवाज शरीफ अगर खुद जल्द वापस नहीं आते हैं तो हम इंशाल्लाह बिल्कुल आखिर में हैं कि हमने वो तमाम जो कानून में सुकम थे वो 2 साल लगा के हमने काफ़ी हद तक बरतानिया के साथ मामला जो हैं वो हल कर लिए हैं। नवाज शरीफ को हम वापस लेके आएंगे, इन्होंने नहीं वापस आना।
Maryam Nawaz, daughter of former premier, also said last week that Sharif may come back soon. She, however, refused to share any timeline for it. His party, PMLN, has maintained that Sharif would be back when allowed by the doctors.
More on news from Pakistan. Pakistan's Finance Ministry, in its monthly economic outlook report, has said that the inflation rate would stay in double digits for the second consecutive month in December. This comes as the government is preparing to introduce a belt-tightening budget of tax hikes and spending cuts early in January next year, bringing more burden on citizens.
Pakistan's Finance Ministry, in its monthly Economic Outlook report released this week, has said that the inflation rate would stay in double digits for the second consecutive month in December, but it remained shy of giving a number ahead of approval of a highly inflationary mini budget. In November, the inflation rate had soared to 11.5%. Rising inflation is hitting hard the country's sizable poor and middle classes, as prices for essentials such as food and fuel have skyrocketed. Now the government is preparing to double down on the pain with a belt-tightening budget of tax hikes and spending cuts required to release a $1 billion tranche of International Monetary Fund bailout cash.
कि अवाम महंगाई की चक्की तले पिस रहे हैं लोग। मैं समझता हूँ कि आज खाना नहीं होने की वजह से लोग बेरोजगारी के सबब खुदकशियाँ कर रहे हैं, यही एक हकीकत है। और इस वक्त भी महंगाई का एक तूफान बरपा है और ऐसे में जो 12 जनवरी को मिनी बजट लाने की बात की जा रही है तो मिनी बजट दूसरा बड़ा जुल्म होगा आवाम के साथ और इस मुल्क में महंगाई का ऐसा तूफान आएगा जो कि सबको उड़ा कर ले जाएगा।
Meanwhile, rejecting the government's plan to present mini budget in the National Assembly, the main opposition Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz has pledged to fight against it and termed the budget economic terrorism. In a meeting on Monday, the party pointed out that despite skyrocketing tariffs of electricity and gas, circular debt had doubled over just 3 years and 5 months of PM Imran Khan's rule.
Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has raised its official foreign exchange reserves to around $3.1 billion, helped by a currency swap agreement with China, reports suggest, as the South Asian country seeks to shore up its battered finances and credit ratings. The country's central bank governor Ajit Nivard Cabral said in a tweet on Wednesday, reserves has risen to around $3.1 billion and would remain at that level until year end. The central bank confirmed the foreign support but did not specifically reference the Chinese swap arrangement. Cabral has previously spoken about the swap with the People's Bank of China. Sri Lanka has to repay about $4.5 billion in debt in 2022, starting with a $500 million international sovereign bond maturing on January 18. The country has been looking to add to its reserves through various means, including bilateral swaps and loans from other governments and central banks, increasing remittances, curbing imports, among others. China is Sri Lanka's largest source of import income and a key financer, having lent over $5 billion for various infrastructure projects, including ports, highways, and a coal power plant over the past decade. Exiled Tibetans in India's northern Dharamsala town held candlelight vigil on Tuesday in solidarity with the critical situation in central Tibet's Kham-Drogo region and called China to end its repressive policies in the region. Exiled Tibetans in India's northern Dharamsala town on Tuesday held a candlelight march to express solidarity with the Tibetans in the Kham-Drogo region of central Tibet. Protesters condemned the demolition of schools, religious institutions, and most recently, the demolition of 99 feet tall Buddha statue in the region. Protesting Tibetans holding placards and banners marched on the central part of Dharamsala town and raised slogans against China and its repressive policies.
The monasteries are demolished, schools are destroyed, and recently they have destroyed and demolished a Buddha statue which has around 99 feet. So the situation inside the Kham-Drogo particularly is very critical. So we have organized this candlelight vigil to show our support and solidarity with the Tibetans in Kham-Drogo and to demand and to condemn the Chinese continued repressive policy and to demand them to stop this repressive policy.
This is not just happening in central Tibet that we got to know recently, but many other places. So China's attempt to destroy aspects of Tibetan Buddhism culture is their way of homogenizing, sinicize entire Tibet. And not only in Tibet, but in East Turkestan, southern Mongolia also.
China has ruled Tibet with an iron fist since it was peacefully liberated by the People's Liberation Army in 1950. China denies any repression in Tibet and says its rule has brought development to a once backward and poverty-stricken region. Portuguese football great Cristiano Ronaldo's statue has been installed in India's Goa state to inspire the youth and take football to next level in the state. Have a look.
Authorities in India's western Goa state installed a statue of Portuguese and Manchester United forward Cristiano Ronaldo to inspire youth and take football to the next level in the state. The statue weighs around 410 kgs and the aim of installing it is to motivate the younger generation towards sports and following their dreams. Local lawmaker Michael Lobo, who inaugurated the statue in the park in the state capital Panji on Tuesday, said the statue will motivate players to excel in football.
This is nothing but to inspire our youth. If you want to take football to the other level, then this is what boys and girls will get inspired looking at him, taking selfies with him.
The statue cost around $16,039 and it was being made since last 3 years but got delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. With over 800 goals, 36-year-old Ronaldo is widely regarded as one of the greatest football players of all time.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.